Hi, this is Amir with a Bulletin Board Heroes special. It's the top charts for 2022. We've had the fundamental countdown, but here we've got a bit of an overspill from the fundamentals and the best looking charts, hopefully, around at the moment. Starting off with Audio Boom, which actually was almost the perfect stock for 2021. We were around £2.50 at the start of the year and finished at nearly £14. So unlikely to do it quite as well this year, but a break of £15 and that resistance line there from April could take the shares up to £21, which I think would be quite a result over a roughly 1 year period. Stop loss on that around the £12 area, so that last bull flag around the £12.50 area, so stop loss just below that. But break of 15 could give us £21 on Audio Boom. Next up, a stock which has certainly revitalized itself over the latter part of 2021 against a lot of kickback, I think. Here we've got Bidstack here, and shares hitting all the targets, or the near-term targets, which were around sort of 4 to 5p. And what's interesting here is that we could have another leg up early in this new year, up to £7, which is that basically that late May resistance line projection. So above 4p, looking for 7p on Bidstack, and possibly much more. We could get the kind of push through that we had at the end of 2020 here, so that would be, again, a decent result for the bulls. Onto a stock which people asked me about in terms of the fundamental top 20. Emerson, actually that's saved for the technicals here, looking strong on the basis that we had a gap through the 50-day moving average back in November, bounced off with a one-day test of the 200-day moving average last month. Initial target here just up to 8p, but the overall flow here looks as though it's going significantly higher, maybe up to 13p, which, if I can go back far enough on the chart, you'll see that basically the 13p area comes from a line of resistance from back in 2018. That's the top of the 4-year price channel now. If I join up the lower parallel there around the 6p area, so above 6p, looking for 13p on Emerson by way of 8p. So hopefully that will cheer up its myriad fans. Onto a stock which has been a great situation in terms of its performance in 2021. Especially in the early part, had a bit of a V-shaped consolidation, but it looks as though the shares of GS Technologies back on song now. Support there at the 200-day moving average, rather, at 1.75p, and above that we're looking for the top of that rising channel from last year, as high as 4.5p. So a reasonable risk reward on that, and perhaps much more than 4.5p, given that the strength that went into that vertical move that we had in the first quarter of last year. But 4.5 while we're above the 1.75p area. Stock which seems to be tipped by the great and the good at the moment is Cadence Minerals, presumably more on a fundamental perspective than a technical one. But here we can look at the daily chart, which shows a decent situation here. We've got that broadening triangle there from back in the early part of 2020. That resistance line projection from February of that year heading towards the 43p area, and that's valid certainly while we hold above the 200-day line, currently at 24. Only back below 20, really, delaying the upside scenario here, and a decent target in the 40s, maybe by the end of Q1 for Cadence at the moment. Onto a stock which has had a bit of a roller coaster effect over 2021. Here we've got Marichal and the shares finishing off 2021 on a decent note, but obviously well off the highs there. But if you believe the rising trend channel that I've drawn there from February last year, we're heading up to as high as 9p, and that target valid while we hold above the 200-day moving average around 2.1p. If you're cautious, maybe you'd wait for a weekly close through the 50-day moving average at 3.1p, but it looks as though the momentum is returning to that particular situation. I didn't look at any of the the diagnostics companies in the fundamental top 20. Well, I have to say I'm not a fan of it. I think it's a bit of a rip-off, and probably something worse than that as well. But here we've got Omega Diagnostics, very strong bullish divergence there. We've had the lower lows for the end of December, but a decent uptrend line in the RSI window. That suggests that we could be in a broadening triangle here. The formation really relying on that July resistance line projection heading towards 70 pence. That could be the target, or should be the target, for the shares over the course of 2022. Initially, though, up to 40 pence to fill the top of that gap there, which we had back in November. The whole thing here really relying on 20 pence holding. Above 20 pence with a bullish divergence, we could see 70 pence during the course of 2022. Although what state we'll be in terms of the pandemic is a moot point. Stock which narrowly missed the fundamental top 20 last week, or in the last few days, is Pires. The reason for that is it's been saved for the charting position here. Here we've got that uptrend line there from April 2020, bounced off that quite successfully over the course of December, around 4 3/4, broke that line of resistance there from April at 6 pence, and above that looking for not only a retest of the Q1 peak there around 17 pence, but also the shares hitting that early 2021 resistance line projection as high as 24 pence over the course of 2022. If you are waiting for the big signal here, it would be a break of the 200-day moving average. That's currently at 8.42 pence, so that could be waited upon to prove that we are heading higher. The last time, obviously, we broke the 200-day line was basically this time last year, and there was a massive rally after that, so maybe that's something to watch out for over the course of January this year. A couple of stocks to go now. One is Quantum Blockchain, and like the stock since I heard about it, interviewed the company as well, but here we've got the current situation where we're just breaking that line of resistance from back in November. That's around the 2.9 pence level. That's also breaking the fiercely rising 50-day moving average at the same level, so that's looking pretty strong. And above 2.9, looking for the top of the rising trend channel from early last year, as high as 5 pence maybe over the next couple of months. So that's looking pretty healthy, especially while we remain above the 2.6 pence zone in the interim. Finishing off with another, let's say, inverted commas, COVID play. Here we've got Synergen, which has been remarkably strong. I suppose what's interesting here is we had a very long consolidation from back in November last year, which has maybe tested the patience of some of its fans. But it looks as though the shares can at least hit the £3 zone over the early part of 2022, especially while we hold the floor of that rising trend channel and the 50-day moving average at 187. The current situation is that we've got the rising 200-day and 50-day moving averages, and that should be a decent momentum signal for the shares heading up towards £3, as I said, over the Q1 2022. That's it for me today. More updates during the week.